Hi and welcome. My name is Angie and today I will be guiding you through the basics of Surya Namaskar or Sun Salutation A. Typically, sun salutations are usually used to greet the day and say hello to the sun, hence the name Sun Salutation or Sun Salute. There are 3 different variations of Sun Salutations, but today we're going to really dive into the basics of Sun Salutation A. If you are interested in the other 2, the links to those videos will be in the description for this video, so go ahead and check that out. If you are familiar with the Sun Salutations already and you just want somebody to flow through with you a couple times, I will also have a link to that so we can do some Sun Salutations together in the description. So go ahead and check that out at your convenience if you'd like to. So as we begin, I do want to offer a gentle reminder that this is your practice. So really, you don't want to go past that line of comfort. This is the Zen zone. This is where you feel good. This is no pain. This is not one of those no pain, no gain scenarios here. You want to be gentle, be kind, and meet yourself where you are in your practice today. Also remembering that just because you were able to do something yesterday doesn't mean that you might be able to do it today. It changes, it shifts, that's all part of the life and it's part of the practice. That's why it's called a practice, because it's changing and shifting and growing as we grow ourselves. So if you are ready to begin, go ahead and start at the top of your mat. We're going to stand into Tadasana or mountain pose. Your feet can be together, or I prefer to have them hip width apart. And I like to rock back and forth a few times just to get a solid foundation and stimulate the senses of the bottom of the feet. So to make sure that I feel all 4 corners of the feet evenly planted. And your legs are actually involved here as well. This is a very active posture where some people, to see from the outside, it looks like we're just standing here la-di-da, but we're not. We are actually activating a lot of things here in mountain pose. So I will start from the feet and work our way up and explain the different alignment of Tadasana or mountain pose. So the feet are firmly planted. The knees are slightly bent. You don't want to have them kicked back because that's going to create some knee injury or some discomfort. But we are engaging the knees, so the kneecaps are pulling up, which is engaging the quads. The pelvic bone is slightly tucked. You're not like this. You're not squeezing the glutes so much, but it is slightly tucked because it's not arched like this either. So we're creating a nice, strong foundation with the legs, and then moving up into the rib cage is lifting up out of the midsection, which opens the chest and brings those shoulder blades together. So you're really squeezing that shoulder girdle and opening your heart space or your chest at the same time. And we're relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. As we drop our hands down, even our hands are active here. You want nice, open, strong, engaged hands, okay? And as the palms face forward, your shoulders are relaxed, your neck is nice and neutral, and your chin should be parallel with the ground. I like to stand here really at the beginning of any practice to just focus on the inner strength and stability, and this is a very good grounding pose. So if you are maybe a little stressed or you got too much going on in your head, you can always come back to Tadasana or mountain pose. I like to really draw in the energy of the mountain here and just find that strength and stability within myself as I feel those energetic roots just kind of growing deeper into the ground and attaching me back down out of my head space and into my body and into the moment. Okay, and on the next inhale, you're gonna go from here and raise your arms all the way up And a lot of times I see people reaching and it causes their shoulders to go right back up to their ears, which is not what we want here. So we're really just hinging here at the shoulders and keeping the shoulder blades together, raising the arms. Good. Keep the shoulders down and relaxed. And another thing that I see here a lot is you'll see people arch their back or like kind of do these weird shapes, or they'll look all the way up and they'll crunch the back of their neck, which is not what we're trying to do here. We're still keeping that strong alignment of Tadasana, reaching all the way up as you inhale. And the next inhale, or exhale, excuse me, we are going to bring our hands to the heart center and fold all the way down. Good. And if it's available to you, go ahead and touch the ground, being sure to bend the knees as much as you need to here. Be real gentle with the body. And if touching the ground isn't necessarily available to you today, you can grab onto your shins or your thighs or whatever you need. Another thing to practice is you can use a yoga block or a stack of books or a firm pillow or cushion in front of you. That way you have something to land on with your hands and you're not straining anything or pulling too much too quickly. Once again, meeting yourself where you are today in the present moment during your practice, okay? So from here, we're going to inhale and go halfway up and look. So you can put your hands on your thighs. Once again, bringing that shoulder blades together. We're not rounding, we're not hunching back, we're not arching our back. We're keeping a nice neutral spine. And if you notice, I'm not looking up, crunching the neck, and I'm not looking down, pulling anything. I've got nice from the tailbone to the top of the head, good neutral spine. Good. And as you exhale, coming back down, we're gonna plant the hands and we're gonna step back into a high plank. So with high plank, what I see a lot is either like it's almost a downward dog, or it's the opposite and people are like dipping their hips down, which is not what we want. We want a nice firm core. And if this is too much, you can always drop to your knees. And when you do that, you just want to make sure that your wrists are stacked underneath your elbows and your elbows are underneath your shoulders. So you have a nice firm base. And once again, the hands are active here. You're pressing into the tips of your fingers. And you're not, what I see a lot is people will, like they've got dead hands and they're just pushing into their wrists. And this can create injury or strain or pressure where it doesn't need to be. So engaging your fingertips, almost lifting your palm off your mat. That's how much you want to engage your fingers during this position. So once more, moving on. And also as your knees are on the ground, if they are, you want to be sure that they're stacked underneath your hips and they're not like back here or up here. You know, there's nice and stacked hips and knees. Good. And we'll take a couple breaths here. And notice as you exhale, you really want your belly button to move towards your spine and your core is always engaged here. Okay, and if you're in the mood or if you'd like to expand your practice, you can even just try lifting one foot or maybe the other one if you're not into the full expression already. Okay, so for the sake of learning the basics, I am going to show a few modified versions. So typically the next asana or position would be chaturanga. But for now, we are going to practice knees, chest, and chin. In my own personal practice, I like to work up to chaturanga. Even though I know I'm perfectly capable of doing it, I like to warm up the muscles and get there before I just kind of jump right in. So for knees, chest, chin, we are going to do a cow pose of sort, is kind of how you can get into it. So your knees are down, your hands are stacked underneath your elbows, elbows underneath the shoulders, and you're gonna drop the belly, arch the back, and as you do that, bring the elbows in towards the body. As you shift forward, bringing your chest and your chin to the mat. So here, you have a nice solid knees, chest, and chin. All right, and then we're gonna shift forward, coming onto your belly. And your hands are next to your lower ribs. And you're lifting your chin and your chest off the mat. And once again, we're not looking up. We're not like, straining too much. We're simply and notice my elbows aren't out to the side. They're still squeezing into the side body here. Good. And nice neutral neck. Once again, you're not looking up, you're not looking down. It's nice and neutral, which for me is I'm just gazing softly in front of my mat here. Good. And we're going to flip those toes up and push back into tabletop and then back into a downward dog. So for downward dog, don't be so hard on yourself. If your heels aren't touching the ground already, keep your knees bent as much as you need to here. You are pushing through the hands and drawing your chest towards your thighs. So your head here is nice and loose. It's not looking up, it is not looking down. It's just kind of hanging out. So this is the full downward dog. Try not to arch your back. You are pushing once again, pushing your chest towards your thighs, bringing your abdomen up and lifting your hips towards the ceiling. Okay, so we are going to walk slowly, nice little baby steps up towards the hands. We're gonna inhale halfway up and look. And once again, keeping a nice micro bend in the knees. Exhale, fold forward deeper. And inhale, swan dive all the way up. And exhale, bring the hands down back to Tadasana. And take a second here and just realize what's going on in your body here. What is going on in your mind? How are you feeling? Good. So we are going to flow through that one more time, and we're going to link the movements with the breath. So as we expand the body, we're going to inhale, and as we contract the body, we are going to exhale. So depending on your practice, I highly recommend mainly breathing through your nose. Your body is able to retain more oxygen in that sense, and you'll be less likely to get dizzy or I don't know, a ton of other things. So I highly recommend breathing mainly through your nose during your practice. However, there are some times where if it's a big fold or a big expansion and then a big contraction, one right after the other, I do recommend in through the nose, out through the mouth. So, and as you exhale, be sure to squeeze those lower abdominals, really squeezing out any excess or stagnant air that may be stuck in the bottom of your lungs. We're really working on refreshing and rejuvenating the body with your practice, okay? So we're gonna inhale, up, exhale, down, inhale, halfway up and look. Exhale all the way down. Stepping back into plank. Take a deep breath in. Knees, chest, and chin if you need to. Full chaturanga if you're available today. And inhale, this time going into upward dog. Upward dog here. Once again, we're not looking all the way up. We have a nice neutral spine. Our shoulders are together, away from the ears. Our legs are engaged and off the mat. Okay, and then drop the knees, fold the toes under, and push back into downward dog. Good. And one more thing to remember when you're going into chaturanga is a lot of times when you go from high plank, I see people try to go just like straight into it. That's going to cause a lot of maybe shoulder or elbow injury if done incorrectly. So this is one little tip that I like to teach, is you roll onto the tips of your toes and then lower down and then up and then back. Okay, so let's walk through the good. And inhale, halfway up and look. Exhale, really let it out. Good, and inhale, swan dive all the way up. This time bringing the hands together. Exhale into the heart center. Good. Taking a second, allowing your practice to settle in. Deep breaths. Good. So one more time, flowing through nice and easy. I'm going to be doing the full extension of the asanas. Feel free to do whatever feels good to you in the moment. Come down to your knees for chaturanga. Do knees, chest, and chin. You can do the baby cobra, where you don't lift the legs or the whole body or straighten your arms. You just a slight lift. That'll really strengthen your back muscles and help your posture. It'll relieve any lower back pain. It does a lot there. So, okay, so here we go. Get your nice, strong foundation. Good. And deep breath in, reach all the way up. Exhale down. Inhale, halfway up and look. Exhale, step back into plank. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, shift forward into chaturanga. Inhale, up into up dog. Exhale, down dog. Good. And just take a breath here. You can paddle out the feet and just rest a little bit. If you're just starting out, this can be a slightly, it can really intensify some different sensations within your body. So go ahead and meet yourself where you're at. If this is too much for you right now, go ahead and meet into child's pose, where you can bring the knees down and the toes together, widen the knees, and then reach forward with your chest, and maybe it's available for you to have your forehead on the mat today. Good. Slowly pressing up into a nice seated position. And we made it. That is the basics of Sun Salutation or Surya Namaskar A. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I will try to get back to them as soon as I can. And let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel after your practice today. I'm really looking forward to connecting and getting to know you. Goodbye, have a great day, and I will see you soon. Namaste.